Hello and welcome back to the Logical Idiots podcast. I'm Austin, and I'm joined here with Grant and Mason, and of course Shire is not here this week, unfortunately. He is sick at the moment, and he said he couldn't make it, so we're missing our little Morgan. But yeah,
Little Morgan baby.
yeah, no. Sorry we weren't here last week. We had a ton of shit. I was sick. Grant wasn't here. It was just a mess.
I had 8 hours on the road. I was dead.
we were all just fucked basically, and we just couldn't do anything. So, this week we do have a little bit of a talking point. We actually have a plan this time because Grant's here and he carries us. But I know I did want to talk about some small talk before we get into that point, Grant. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is like I saw so two things, right? One, I have a video plan, like a video idea that I wanted to do because I've been teeter-tottering about this, like about doing this, but this summer, like after finals and shit, I was thinking about making like an entire full video on like the complete like guide on like my advice and like a bunch of shit you'll need for, like beginning streamers and stuff like that, or even like just current streamers too who want some more advice because I have like I've been doing this for like almost 6 years now, and you
learned a thing or two because you've seen a thing or two.
Literally, I'm one of those guys who I didn't like videos teaching me like, oh well, you need this, and this. Like, I didn't like that. I wanted to learn on my own, but there's a part of me that wishes that I would have had that sooner.
The issue is that there's so many fucking like dumbass ones out there, though.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's just not a good video. There's no good video that I've seen. Not like, and I'm not talking about a video that's gonna be like, oh, you need this to grow in views. I'm talking about like genuine advice for like beginning streamers, the headspace you need to have, and then like setup tips.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always hated about the way Zane streamed is that he would always look at those videos on how do you like he'd always go for the math. How do I get more followers? How do I get more viewers? And it's like, dude, just stream and enjoy what you're doing.
Exactly. No, and that was like one of the things that also kind of like started me and Zane's like arguments and shit because the way I wanted to stream was I wanted to build a community. I wanted to focus on the people. He wanted to focus on the numbers.
Yeah, speaking of which, I've been noticing a lot of new members in the fucking Discord. Good
yeah,
shit.
Dude, and that's like that's one thing. I feel like I finally got my content to where I realized this is what I want to do. This is what I want to build on and improve. And I've started to actually do that, and I've seen a lot of growth for it, and like a lot of people. I'm like, man, I'm starting to gain like a lot of people. Like not in terms of like, oh, I'm gaining like thousands of people. I mean, I'm just gaining like good community members who are gonna want to stick around and be there.
Like a consistent, you know, like guy or two every once in a while.
From what I've seen, we've only had one bad person in the Discord, and that was the fucking Viewbot guy.
Oh yeah, like that was the only guy I think we've actually banned in that one.
I don't think we've had a single other problem.
No. I mean, the growth that I've had like just this year alone compared to last year is astronomical. I mean, I think I've shot up at least like 50 followers in past 4 months.
Probably,
compared to like last year where I started, it was like almost a full year. It was like 11 months and I barely got 100. So I mean, I'm really proud of like what I've been able to turn this channel into, and I'm also like really happy with what we've been doing with this podcast specifically. This is episode 30, by the way, boys.
God damn.
Episode 30. We've been doing this for almost a year now, or close, or it's like a little over 6 months. How many months has it been? We started recording in July, but we didn't post until August. So we're a few months out from a year.
Yeah, well, like 9 months now, or 8 months,
something like that. I don't know, but I feel like we've had like a really good. I think we started out. We didn't have a plan. We didn't know what we were gonna do, but we just wanted to be like do some game show type shit, just have fun, It turned into story time, and then having viewers on shit. I mean, having people on, I feel like it's been good. I think we really made the right decision, especially adding Shire onto it. Like us three were good.
I think we've been really smart on just focusing on like the thing that I've talked about several times is just that we come here and it's just more because this is really one of the only times that we can consistently meet up and hang out anymore. So it's just more nice that we can just be around each other again.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think having Shire on too has been like a really good thing for us as well. So I mean, like, I'll be honest, you three are like my best friends.
Like, visuals are always very entertaining.
Agreed. No, but like, I mean, I was literally thinking about this the other day where I was just like, you know, if there are 3 people that I would consider my ride or dies and shit, like no matter what, I knew y'all would always be around. It's you 3, right? Because I mean, think about it. I've known Grant for like 8 years now. He's stuck with my ass. The only way out is death. he's not leaving. We're like conjoined at the hip type shit. Mason, I've known you for almost 6 years now.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, like, I genuinely consider you like if Grant didn't exist, right, you would be like #1 best friend.
All right, so I gotta kill Grant. I'm sorry, Grant.
Yeah, no.
I need that title.
No,
sometimes sacrifices need to be made.
Yeah, and I feel like we've had this conversation before, Mason, but like Grant like may know me better on like a personal, or may know me better on like the things that I do and like known like my past and shit. But I mean, like, you just know me on such a good level, and we can have just such deep conversations in an instant. Like, you're just my best friend.
That's what. As I'm getting older, I'm just like I'm just getting like I'm enjoying more and more having real adult conversations.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like me and my D&D buddies the other night, we had a full conversation on the problems of Chainsaw Man with its over the top pedophilia.
Yeah, I stopped watching that show after like episode 2.
That's what I did too, because like most animes, I can look past the pervy shit, but he is a straight 15-year-old, and they aren't just like going around it. He is 15 years old, and his only goal is to get laid. There is no story. Like, there is more story outside of him, but he's the main character, and that's his goal. There is nothing else.
Yeah.
So to a certain point, that pedophilia needs to fucking stop. It's too much.
Agreed. No, that I couldn't watch that show. It was when I saw the main character on all fours and a fucking leash. I couldn't anymore. That shit was like, this is like exactly what Redditors wish for in life.
The moment I found out he was 15, I was done.
I didn't even know that. I thought he was older than that.
It's so bad. He's 15.
Yeah. No. I mean, like, even
he knows what he wants, and he's getting it.
Yikes. Okay, moving. No, you guys want to know like a fucking creepy ass movie that they made 2 movies of? Like the same movie, but like 2 different films. Because it's based off a book. Is Lolita?
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
God damn, that is a fucking unsettling
ass story.
Because the movie is, we had to watch it for a film class, right? The whole premise of it is basically how foreigners view America. This was back in like the 50s, and it's like, it's still true today in like a lot of major institutions. But it was basically about this like guy from Europe who moves to the US, and basically the movie is him trying to justify that a 12-year-old came onto him to a jury.
Oh.
And he killed the mother and married the daughter, and his goal was to impregnate her so then he could do the same thing to their daughter.
All the movies you tell me you watch from your classes are fucked up, and then I hear stories about other people who are like, yeah, my professor wanted to show us this clip from now I'm blanking on the movie, Hacksaw Ridge. They wanted to show us this clip from Hacksaw Ridge, then we ended up watching the whole thing.
Yeah, no, mine was like straight up like, yeah, so this is how Europe viewed America in the 50s. It's like, just pedophiles. And it's like, well, I mean, it's like, at first you're like, okay, that's kind of insulting. But then if you look at it, it's like, okay, well, now you have like influencers, Hollywood, the Epstein shit that came out, like all that. It's like, damn, this is fairly accurate for what we see. We just like, we push it under the rug and don't even notice it until someone actually brings it up. It's really weird. So, like, it's very unsettling. And like watching the film as it goes further, it's like, and then you find out later that this isn't his first time doing this. He did it like 7 times in Europe.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why he moved to America. It was.
Hold on. So the movie is about how Europeans view Americans, but the entire thing is about how a European is doing European things in America.
And that's what I commented on it. Like, we had to talk about it like in class. I commented on like what's also a criticism and like how Europeans view other cultures and shit. Like how America views other cultures and as well. Because like we often don't think about that, like cultures are different. Like something that like, this is a very extreme example clearly, but like some cultures and shit could be doing different things that here in America we would completely view differently.
Yeah,
right.
Legal,
like we would view it as very weird, but then there's
drinking age is very different in a lot of countries. Like
exactly.
It's 18 in UK or some shit.
And to be fair,
14 in Russia.
To be fair, the US should lower that shit. 21 is so fucking.
If I'm old enough to die for my country, I'm old enough to drink myself to death. That's all I'm saying. Now,
if I'm old enough for the IRS to start taxing me, I'm old enough to drink my problems away. Okay.
You're goddamn right.
No, speaking of the IRS,
is IRS slander.
Yeah, no. Speaking of the IRS, they're starting to look for special agents to start using deadly force if necessary to start taxing you. So basically, like, if you resist the taxing, they can use deadly force on you.
Bring back tar and feathers. Treat this shit like colonial America.
I'm about to be like that.
Shit's gonna get crazy because the Pinkertons are fucking back.
I'm about to be like that guy who crashed a plane into the IRS building, bro. I swear to God, take those fuckers out. They don't deserve it.
If there's no one left, there's no one to knock on my door.
ATF, CIA.
Shut the fuck up.
Government organization slander.
Did you see that shit? I knew Kennedy is gonna be running for like office. It's like CIA, take every gun and fire it at him now. No, dude, it's stupid out there. You know, it's
bad.
We're a fucked up place. We really are. But
indeed,
yeah, you know.
That's why I love it, because like. It's one of the weirdest fucking things. Americans can't stand each other, but the moment our pride is on the line, America all the fucking way.
Yeah, no, it's like
it's the weirdest thing.
We hate the government, we hate each other, but the second anyone tries to interfere in our hatred for each other, we turn that hatred onto them and fucking eradicate them.
Well, it's because we're a melting pot, right?
True. No, and I actually saw a video about this. Like, it was like a like a stand-up comedian. He's talking about, he's like, everyone labels America as the most racist country, but other countries are racist. Just America is the only one that's like, yeah, we don't like you, but we'll let you into we'll let you in, you know?
Yeah.
And then everyone else is like, we don't like you, so we're not letting you in. So every country is just as racist, but like we're the only one that allows other cultures in, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it just for a quick second here.
Yeah.
The idea that people will like legitimately, like truly believe America is the most racist country in the world is asinine. And the only reason I say that is because anyone, and I mean anyone, who knows anything about Poland knows America is not the most racist country in the world.
True. What about Switzerland, bro? They're all Swiss, bro. There is no one. Everyone's like, oh, the Swiss are so nice. Yeah, it's because they're all Swiss. And they don't allow anyone into their fucking borders, bro. If you don't look like, oh, what's that fucking actress's name from like Doctor Strange, like the first one? Tilda Swinton or something like that?
Yeah.
If you don't look like her, bro, you're not allowed into Switzerland. It's fucking crazy.
No, it's like the statistic where if you map, I don't know what year it was, but they like mapped all of the terrorist attacks in all of Europe and their locations. And it was on a news channel. Like it was on like a European news, and they were doing like an interview with a Polish government, like I don't know who it was, but it was like a Polish lawmaker.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls up this chart of where all the terrorist attacks have been in Europe. 0 in Poland. Not a single one. And he was super, super proud about it. But he was like, this is because we don't let any Middle Eastern refugees into our country. He said that.
Huh?
On the BBC, this Polish lawmaker goes, oh yeah, we don't let no refugees into our country from the Middle East. And we have no terrorist attacks.
Yep. That sounds like Poland, right? Well, I think they learned after getting invaded by Germany twice, that they really got to secure their borders.
No, they only got invaded once. Poland wasn't a country in World War I yet.
Oh, wasn't
still,
okay.
No, it was still technically part of like Czechoslovakia.
Well, it still got invaded either way.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't technically Poland yet.
True.
Because in World War I, you still had the Ottoman Empire and
either way, the territory was fucking taken by the Germans. So whether the name changed or not, they were still fucking overrun with crowds. Sorry.
That's my heritage right there.
Same. I'm mostly German too.
That's half my heritage. The other half of my heritage, Swiss.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is probably a bad tangent to be on, but we're here now.
Dude, honestly, I think this might be one of our best episodes we've had. This is the most interesting conversation we've had. It's just like I feel like I have not been this engaged in the podcast for a few episodes at least.
I don't know. I feel like we're just really towing a line here that's dangerous for us to be on.
That's at a peak.
Either way, this is what makes us the logical idiots, because we say shit that other people are either too afraid to say or are like smart enough to not say.
Facts.
We're here to give you the fucking truth, okay? We're here to make you laugh, make you giggle a little bit, but also scare the shit out of you.
God, these guys are gonna get assassinated.
Yeah, literally. Dude, honestly, I'm just saying, if anyone knows, if I get assassinated, it was the CIA. Like,
it was the CIA.
We had this conversation the other day.
Birds work for the bourgeoisie.
No, Mason, I just introduced Grant to the wonderful world of BlackRock and Vanguard.
I don't know what those are.
It's the two two investment banks in America that have high amount of stocks and like high amount of investment in like every company in the U.S. And so basically they're on the board of literally every company.
That's what we call fucking power.
Yeah, they're pretty much called the fourth branch of government, and they literally like loan money to the central banks in America.
They loan the United States of America money.
Imagine being the bank for banks.
So basically what we have here is a private company that we can't see the transactions of, but also control our government and everything, like with our food and drinks and shit. And so
sounds great.
Yeah. So this is basically what like sent me to like this anti-government shit that Grant was always fond about. Like I was teeter-tottering on the edge, and then I saw that shit. I was like, okay. So when we started World War III with our Civil War II, Civil War II.
True. No, that's the thing, because it's a private company. It can't be listed on the stock market. Like, it can't be listed on the NASDAQ or anything.
Yep. It's
wild.
Yep.
Absolutely wild.
Welcome to the US, everybody. Our listeners are just like, fuck. They're like, I came here for laughs, not to be scared shitless and to grab my rifles.
They're like, I came here for a laugh, and now I'm on a fucking watch list.
I'm gonna traumatize you both forever.
No.
Oh my goodness, mate.
Oh god, I gotta look at this on my phone. I can't look at it. I can't show this on the podcast. What did you say? Oh yeah, I'm so glad I didn't show that on the podcast.
Oh, for the viewing, for the listeners, what we're looking at is a GIF or a GIF, depending on what you say.
It's a GIF
of a an anatomical recreation of a male appendage that has a crude bald eagle head as the head, and an American flag as the shaft.
And it spews out freedom.
Yeah,
God damn it.
And it spews out freedom.
I'm sorry, this is my
God damn, I
favorite.
love and hate this country so much.
I know. It's like I love being a part of American pride, but also fuck America.
Yeah. No. Oh shit.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing about America, is because we're such a melting pot. We hate each other, but the second that it's like if we're at war, and it's like the Nazis, the second there's like a legitimate everybody hates these people, it's over. Oh, it's over.
No, and I always love that saying, behind every blade of grass there's a gun.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and that's everyone's like, oh, okay, that's haha funny or shit like that. But that's a real fucking statement. Like that's not incorrect.
I don't know how people can even consider going to even thinking about getting into combat with America, because Japan simply fucked up some of our boats and we threw 2 suns at them.
Yeah, literally. No, okay.
That is the biggest overreaction ever.
Real
and
talk.
It's so America.
Real talk. There is no possible way that America can be invaded, right? And you ever seen Red Dawn? That shit's not gonna happen, because we have a mountain on the right and a mountain on the left. The only way through is from the southern, where they have to cross through the cartels and try and cross the border through border patrol, which they'll get fucking. They're not getting through that shit. And second off, they have to go through Canada, which are the most fearsome motherfuckers in war you've ever seen. They have to cross the icy tundra, but Canadians are a fucking different breed in war.
The only country we don't need to be afraid of is Australia, because they lost to kangaroos.
True. No, they lost emus.
Oh yeah, emus.
Still,
the point stands. They lost emus.
No, also, back to what you were saying with there's a rifle behind every blade of grass. In America, there's 393 million registered firearms. Okay. How many, what do you think the population of the US is?
Isn't it 375,000 or 375 million?
It's 332 million. There are more registered.
Yeah, true.
There are more registered firearms in the United States than there are people. And that doesn't include things like flamethrowers, cannons, which I know people who have
tanks.
Flamethrowers. I know people that have flamethrowers and cannons.
You have recreational tanks,
Yeah.
Sorry, medicinal M1 Abrams.
Well, because you can drive tanks on the road here, as long as you have 2 things. Or there's conditions you have to meet. One is you have to have asphalt tracks, right? So you have to have flat bottom tracks, and basically what that is basically a tank track. But instead, how they have the ridges?
Yeah,
it's basically that, but without the ridges. That's pretty much all it is.
Yeah.
It's just asphalt appropriate tracks. And then the second thing is either you can't have the turret, right? So you either can't have the turret on the tank, and if you do have the turret, you can't have any ammunition inside the tank with you.
So basically what I'm hearing is
I'd like to see them get inside and check.
Literally.
I roll up with a tank, they ain't doing shit.
Have you seen the video on someone made a video on how to make the killdozer in case of invasion?
Oh yeah.
Oh, based on the guy who actually made the killdozer?
Well,
that guy is the most American motherfucker.
Yeah, he was really American when he committed suicide in it.
he literally, dude, they could kill him.
Wait, hold on.
Dude, he literally drove around for hours with SWAT teams laying down machine guns at him, and dude just sat inside chilling because no bullet was getting through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he got stuck, which is the downfall of the killdozer. He got stuck.
Dude, he still put in a lot of work. He took down a couple of buildings, a lot of cars.
Oh, he took down pretty much every government building in this town.
Dude is a hero.
Plus other buildings of people who had wronged him.
I want a statue of the Killdozer in town square right now.
True. That is the fucking true American hero. Like that, he is the revolutionary. He's what George Washington would have hoped to be like. He's George Washington if he had our modern technology.
Yes. But it's wild.
Yeah.
Like I feel like anyone who's a part of the two-party system, and I don't mean like politicians, I mean like actual people who like identify as, I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal, I'm progressive, or like I'm a Republican, I'm conservative. I feel like it's just I feel like it's just brainwash.
You want to know what I like? I keep saying, like, no matter which way you vote, everyone is fucking stupid. Like,
oh, definitely.
If you can't see that the two-party system is literally made just to start arguments so that the government can hide shit from you, so you're focused on other shit other than what they're actually doing behind the scenes, you're an idiot. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
If you like, I've delved so deep into the fucking rabbit hole of like how far the corruption has gone. So like
that is why I just don't try to fill myself with knowledge on the fucking politics, because at this point it's not even that I won't understand it, it's that I will understand it.
No,
I'm just done with it. I just can't.
I used to argue all the time about politics with like friends and shit. Like, but now like there's no like thing that they're talking about that is worth arguing about. What we should be arguing about is how we stop the fucking corruption going on and shit.
Yep.
Because I mean, like, there is so much cover up and shit. It is exactly like when media like started reporting on the Catholic Church and like the pedophilia going on with that. Tried I recommend everyone watch the movie Spotlight, which kind of like talked about the investigative team covering it. They had so much pushback and so many things fighting against them to like stop them from like covering or like finding out and revealing everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing. Same way with the movie industry, politics, and like just everything.
So like, I know this is gonna be really cheesy, but the John Mayer song "Waiting on the World to Change," that entire song describes our fucking generation so well. Like, think about some of the lyrics. Now we see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. We just feel like we don't have the means to rise above and beat it, so we just keep on waiting. It's hard to beat the system when you're standing at a distance. We need to wait till we're in the system so we can actually fucking change it. Well, and still, currently, it's mostly people from the older generation that are still in charge.
Yeah. See, and here's the problem that no one realizes, right? There is a quick solution. Just no one has the balls to do it. And I'm not going to announce it because I'll end up on a watch list for sure. But
all the politicians. Kill John Lennon.
Let's just see if you've ever seen Designated Survivor. There you go. But no, I mean, like, the only problem is we are actively fighting ourselves to stop this from happening. It's an easy solution that we can, like, oh, well, here's how we can change how we're running things. But everyone's like, well, no, if we just take away the means of solution to do it, we don't have to do it, and then we're just gonna fuck ourselves over. It's like,
yeah,
why? What the fuck are you doing?
The real problem, I think, with America is that, like, it's really nobody's fault.
No.
Because the seeds that have grown into such huge problems today were literally planted at the birth of our nation.
Yeah.
Just because of the way our voting system works. At the time, they had no way of making at the time when we were first voting presidents, George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, there was no good way to establish a better voting system than just the traditional democratic republic where majority wins in the votes, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we've moved to an era where it's really easy to collect electronic votes and do statistical analysis really, really fast, the two-party system, like our current voting system, is just extremely outdated. And it perpetuates the two-party system. Because what would really help America is getting away from the two-party system. And in my opinion, the best way to do that is to move to ranked choice voting instead of straight majority wins. Because
I may not understand a whole lot about the government and politics, but I do fully understand that I don't know exactly how it would work. I do know that if we could find a cross between capitalism and communism, if we can somehow meet in the middle between those, in all seriousness, that would be honestly our best government. Because capitalism alone isn't working. Communism on its own isn't gonna work.
Well, here's the thing you gotta realize:
they both have the qualities.
There are no true capitalist markets or communist things at the moment. It is a mix of everything, right? There is no true free market. So already we live in a mix of it. We're arguing too much among ourselves, and we can't seem to find a solution. You know, like
the problem with our system isn't it's not enough capitalism or it's not enough communism. The problem with our system is that we're too busy arguing about the ratio of which is better hypothetically when we could just just actually fix it.
Yeah. We literally pay politicians to do fuck it all. Like that.
Exactly.
They get paid so much.
Well,
what's a politician's salary? Like $250,000?
Maybe a few years ago.
I think in the Senate it was like $250,000 a year.
But that's not counting the bonuses and shit and the raises they keep adding to themselves.
The underhand shit.
See, here's the thing, right?
Insider trading.
Yeah, they add pay increases every year. Like they give raises, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those raises are like above inflation rates, so they actually get raises. See, we get raises, but they're below inflation raises. So what we actually get is pay decreases every year. So that's why,
at base, the senators earn $174,000 per year.
Okay,
it's probably more than that.
No, I just pulled up the facts.
Well, I know,
but obviously, all the shit that we don't know about, but just their salary from being a senator alone.
Yeah, but no, I mean like, shit. Now I literally just forgot what I was gonna talk about because of that. I lost. Just go ahead and say what you're gonna say, Grant. I lost my train of thought.
Anyone who looks at our government, looks at our politicians, knows that the salary they make is $174,000 a year. Looks at the 3 or 4 homes that every politician owns and goes, "Oh no, they're not doing anything under the table." You're you actually have a mental disability. I am sorry.
Yeah, no, the amount of crimes they've been caught with, like, I'm not sure if you saw, like I sent Grant this one video the other day where it was like, okay, is this NBA or NFL? And it names a bunch of crimes and shit, and it's like, this is actually the Congress, just this year alone, all they've been committed with. Next few days later, he gets assassinated. He dies of natural causes.
He naturally died when he hit the ground after being thrown off his balcony.
No, that was Trevor Moore.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay, so another thing about Trevor Moore was the guy who who made that video. Right? He made that video like the joke about like, okay, it is totally illegal. You cannot say, and it's like where to like start mortaring the White House from. And this was obviously like not a few days after, but he did die a little bit. And he said a fall from his balcony, and it said head trauma, right? Is how he died. It is almost guaranteed that that motherfucker was pushed, or he was beaten like on the head or whatever and thrown over. I can fucking guarantee that shit.
Okay, you know the gif of Mort where he's like looking at Alex's mouth and he starts crying? It's like that, and it's like the coroner when the CIA walks in after he notices how many times this guy must have fallen off the balcony.
Literally, dude. No. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. It's so fucking obvious, dude. Like, they have been caught red-handed so many fucking times.
The CIA?
The CIA.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, anyone who speaks up about it mysteriously dies from natural causes. So anyway, boys, if I die of a heart attack at 19, just saying.
Yeah.
If I fall off a balcony from my first floor dorm that's literally 2 feet in the ground.
Yeah, his dorm is in the ground.
It's 2 feet below ground. If I fall from my balcony, no. I don't have a balcony, by the way.
No, I don't have a balcony. Have you guys ever seen the meme where it's from Up? And it's the old guy, and he has his cane, and he's like, I don't want you here, and I don't want you here, and I'm stuck with you. And it's like the ATF, the CIA, and then the IRS.
Yes, dude. I love that one so much. I love that meme so fucking much.
Yeah. Every actual good American. I don't want you here, and I don't want you here.
No, it's so pointless. We have our heads so far up our asses that we can't see this shit. It's like, I'm not gonna lie. Any sort of deep dive that you do, not even a deep dive, any sort of like basic dive that you do into this shit, you will find just layers upon layers, and the further you go, you'll just see like it's literally like that meme with like the Willem Dafoe shit where it's like him on the beach with like the beanie and then it's like the lighthouse shit like smoking.
Oh, yeah.
It's like me when I think the government's just batting 1,000 or batting 100 or whatever, and then me when I actually do my research.
No, Willem Dafoe, where it's like the exact same meme format, but it's me before I was a libertarian, me after I was a libertarian.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No,
we need ranked choice voting. We need term limits in Congress. We need insider trading gone. And we need to clear out lobbying.
Dude,
we need to make
the lobbying is terrible.
Oh yeah, we need to make it so if a government candidate accepts lobbying money, they're instantly unable to, one, finish out the election, and two, ever run again for another office.
Mm-hmm. Now, I saw this like this one thing. I was writing about this one thing for my last project because I was doing like this video and kind of like journalistic writing or whatever for a final project where it's talking about how Wall Street is represented in film. And it kind of got to the point of like, you know, what can you trust in terms of like
nothing.
Like it's like we'll get to the point of like in terms of like film. I started going on a tangent about film industry as well, you know. And it's like what can you actually trust about when a major industry attacks another one? It's like you can't trust either because it's the same kind of theory as which is this is actually good for anyone, right? If you're gonna read a research paper, right, and you're gonna read a research study, look at who is financing the research. So if you're saying like, this is a very simple one. Let's say a researcher wants to see how soda affects the human body and like what kind of like physical health problems it can cause, right? If that research is funded by Coca-Cola, it's not fucking accurate.
Well, hold on.
And now hear me out.
It's not necessarily accurate. It should be looked at with a more scrupulous glance.
Well, I mean, like, I'm just talking about like any, and yeah, I do agree, but like any like huge name ones are the ones you need to look out for because I mean, like, Coca-Cola has actually been caught doing this many times, like where they have many researchers like, well, actually, one soda a day is good for you. No, the fuck it isn't.
Yeah, my fucking ass.
No, the fuck it isn't, dude.
Then there's that lady who's been drinking Dr. Pepper for all those years. I'm guessing she's dead now, but either way, she lived to like 112 or some shit.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, yeah,
Lived 3 doctors.
the doctors told me that if I kept drinking Dr. Pepper this much, I'm gonna die. They all died before me.
She outlived like 3 of her doctors.
Bro, she outlived
she probably chose some old ones, dude. Then,
her.
and also to be fair, think about how many like things the doctors are exposed to. Like,
true.
Realistically,
chlamydia.
That's the example you went with.
Yeah,
man.
that's an out there example, I think.
One of my biggest fears is a doctor.
I like how we like didn't even get to the point that Grant wanted to talk about today, but like that's just the story we'll have to keep for the next one, Grant.
True.
Like we already have 20 minutes left, and we're not stopping on this one.
Damn.
No,
True.
it's the whole system's kind of like fucked, and like oh dude, don't even get me started on the fucking like judicial system. Wait.
Yeah, I think we should kill them all. Like, as you arrest them, just put them down in the street. Go to the next one.
Oh, okay. Well, no. Anyway, no. There's another good podcast I definitely recommend to our listeners is like the Reveal podcast. It's a kind of like a journalistic, like a newspaper kind of thing, but they actually go like deep stories and shit. Like
just the facts. J. Jonah Jameson.
No, but like they actually do like months of research and they sit down with like they interview people and like you hear the interviews and listen to it, and you know there was this one thing I like. Like it was talking about the prison system, how like, and there's another one talking about how like just how much power like just prosecutors in general have. Like they're the most powerful people in the courtroom. The judge is basically the referee, but the prosecutor can like decide how they want to fuck you, basically.
Yeah.
And there's just all this shit, and it's like eventually you realize there's so much fucking red tape you have to go through. Also, there's the prison experiment we talked about a while ago, Grant, whereas like guards have so much authority in there that it goes to their head, and they end up being the worst part about prison and shit. And,
anyone who like wants to look at like psychology behind people in power, watch the movie The Stanford Prison Project. Yeah. The Stanford Prison Project was a psychological study done in the 1970s about that exact idea, and it was the dynamic of how the idea of superiority and power affects how someone treats other people that they view as lesser, and sometimes how they treat other people who whose positions are equal, but they just believe they're still better. It's a fantastic movie. Highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm. And it's that kind of thing, you know, where one of the episodes they talked about specifically was this guy. Oh fuck, what was his name? Fuck, I can't remember his name. Either way, he was like in his I think he was like in his young like low 20s, whatever, right? And he didn't have a license, but he was driving. Got pulled over, got arrested, got 7 years in prison. But the prison he was sent to was such a shithole that like it was like hurting his mental state to the point where he was like, I'm not gonna try and be graphic, but like he had like stabbed himself with a spoon so deep they had to surgically remove it. His arms were full of cuts so bad it looked like tree branches and shit. Like it was like that kind of bad kind of thing. But like, it did so much to his mental health that like they started acting out, and it wasn't the only thing where like he started like harassing guards, as in like they would throw shit or they would like talk shit, kind of shit like that. But that's considered assault or like in the prison case or whatever. And so the prosecutor that was at that time, he had a grudge against this guy because he went and defended himself at one point and ended up winning by proving the prosecutor was wrong and that he was actually not guilty of this thing. And so since then, this guy proceeded to do the maximum sentences required and did consecutive sentences as well. So he basically added 100 years onto his sentence from just basically just assault charges on the guards and shit. And then a new prosecutor came in and basically said, hey, this isn't right. It should not be consecutive sentences like this, and got his sentences like down, like lessered back down to like where he's out in a few years, because like it shouldn't have been 100 years added onto a sentence, you know. And this was a what do you call it, a prison town, so like most of these citizens kind of were either law enforcement or worked in the prison. And so when they just thought that he was just lowering sentences instead of actually like fixing what, like, the wrongs that were made. And so the assistant that he had, who was considered his best friend at the time, who actually brought him this and said, hey, this isn't right, ran against him as a prosecutor in the next term and beat him by a slander campaign, saying that he was lowering prisoner sentences and like trying to hurt the town. And it's so fucking crazy how, one, corrupt people can be, but also two, how easily manipulated people are.
Yeah.
It's you have to like look. The thing is, people today are just so easily manipulated because they just want to jump on the thing, right? See, if they see a headline, they don't bother to read the fucking article. They see a headline and say, okay, I disagree with this, I'm gonna argue about it, not do any research.
Yeah.
They just want something to snap at.
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at things very clearly. You have to look at it from like everyone's perspective in the situation. If you look at it, they're just like, you know, oh well, they did this. Well, I don't believe in that. That's wrong. Okay, look at this fucking situation around it, and then you can come to understand. It's like, okay, like that's what also got me like out of politics and shit. Because I used to be like the same way I just was, and then I realized, wait a minute, this is fucking stupid. You know,
Yeah.
Like why am I arguing over this when, you know, I don't know their situation, I don't know what's going on. Shit. Let's look at all the facts first before I jump to a conclusion. But nobody wants to do that nowadays, and it is so easy to get a general public rioting and like just turn into this giant like mayhem and chaos, all because no one wanted to clearly look at something and say, hey, wait a minute, what the fuck, this is clearly just a hit piece, or clearly just like a narrative they're trying to build, you know?
Yeah.
And for any viewers who are considering getting into politics, or like,
don't.
First off, it's a shithole, it doesn't matter. Two, if you're gonna go down this rabbit hole, don't look at like the topics of like, oh, abortion, gun rights, shit like that, you know? Look at like, okay, what is the government trying to show us versus what is actually happening behind the scenes? That's the behind the scenes shit is the one you actually need to be focusing on. That's the ones we should be pushing and arguing for, not what are they trying to show us to divide us.
Yeah, if you're like, you know, if you're young, okay, so let's say you're a young adult, let's say you're going into like your freshman year of high school,
Mhm.
like you're gonna be bombarded with a lot of that shit, because that's something like when you get to high school, you're old enough to like understand. And so that's something teachers, it's like, okay, they're finally old enough to understand. I think it's important that we talk about it, even if like some teachers might lean one way. I know personally a lot of teachers that I know put out like diligent effort not to portray like one side or the other as correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of teachers that I had went out of their way not to do that, because it's of course wrong. It's unethical, and it's not what you should do. So a lot of teachers were really good about that.
I think that was just our school specifically, because I think there's a lot of people like I see a lot of shit where like other teachers are just like pushing for like what they believe.
But that's like, you know, you see one or two, but that's not like overall.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying like overall.
Most teachers, most teachers do a really, really good job of at least attempting to portray situations objectively that they want to talk about in class. Okay, but if you don't know, like, you don't have to be your parents.
No, absolutely.
Right.
I disagree with my parents. on levels. So like,
you don't have in fact, you shouldn't be your parents. Don't, just because that's what you grew up around or that's what you've always heard in your house, that is not what you have to believe.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't feel pressured into believing what your parents believe, because your parents' job is to, make you smart enough to make those choices for yourself. Right? And if they have a problem with that, they don't fully understand their job.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Like,
right? Because parents aren't perfect. Parents are people too.
Yeah.
And some people, some parents try really hard to make sure their kids think this way because that's what their parents believe. But that's not necessarily what is true or what they should believe.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you need to be your own person. And when you're coming into politics, your goal should be to be as moderate as possible.
Yeah. Like, one of the things I got into was like I started believing one way over the other, and I got into this thing now where like I disagree with some of the things I used to think, but at the same time I still feel like that. Like if someone is shit talking this side, I still feel that like anger and shit that I used to have for that, and I'm like I still agree with them. I don't know why I'm like angry, but I still like I agree, and I don't know why I'm in that headspace still. I'm trying to like get better at that, but like the one thing I really disliked about my like film teacher this semester was that like she was at the start she was like pretty fucking progressive. Like she was like really pushing it, and like to the point where we heard a sob story about her being a single mother and like all this, and I'm just like, it's a film class, what the fuck? Like why are we getting this kind of thing? And there were some points where I'm like, I was agreeing with her, but like because we just had this background of like, oh my god, she's talking about all this, I was pissed off. But then at the same time, I was just like, wait a minute. Towards the end, I realized, like, wait a minute, I agree with like at least half the shit.
Yeah, like why am I pissed off?
Yeah, I'm like, why? Yeah, exactly. And so I definitely recommend when you're starting out, do not start one way or the other. It will completely change how you view things for the rest of the time. Like that you're in like you look at politics. It's gonna happen. So if you try and stay moderate, especially in the beginning, and then you move one way or whatever, or do whatever you want to do, then you're fine. But like trying to start out in an extreme and then switching, it's a hard transition.
Yeah, the main thing, like for me, is you should not watch news or politically based content at all.
Don't
you shouldn't watch it.
Don't watch anything like that, because everything has a narrative, no matter what. Even if they say, oh well, we're not biased. Yes, you are. You're biased one way or the other. Either way, there is no media out there that does not even shit that's in like different countries.
Yeah.
What you need to do is you need to, like, if you see an event happen, do your own research on it, but don't look at like just read one article on one thing that you agree with and then boom, that's the only idea. Read every side of the story. And like watch, like if there's videos of like what happened, watch the videos. Try and depict it from your own point of view of like, oh, okay, let's look at the headspace of this person. Let's look at the headspace of this person. This is like, okay, this is justifiable here. And oh, okay, well, yeah, no, obviously this isn't okay, but obviously they have to have these instincts because you don't know what's going to happen. So this obviously has to be like, that's kind of how the headspace you have to be in. You can't be like, well, this is just wrong, so everything's wrong. It's like, no, you gotta look at every situation through a clear lens,
Yeah, And so, like, when I was in high school, like, when I grew up, so I was Catholic for much of my childhood, right? Now I'm an atheist, right? But I grew up Catholic until I was in middle school. I was Catholic pretty much. And so I always kind of leaned Republican, conservative. Okay, but because after not being Catholic anymore, I was an atheist. I kind of, like, I was no longer really associated with a lot of the deeply conservative values just because I'm not religious anymore. And conservatism is based pretty much purely off of religion.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have Republican, then you have conservatism. Conservatism is like Republican, but with like huge religious restrictions on what is right and wrong.
Yep.
And so like, I fell much closer into the Republican category. And as I got older, you know, me talked about it before, I did theater a really long time. And as a Republican person, and in high school I was really outspoken because I'm a professional arguer. Yeah.
So was I. I was just a little bit more extreme in my approach.
Yeah, anybody who knows me, I'm a professional arguer. I tend not to start arguments, but I surely love to participate in them. Mm-hmm. And so
you might want to back up from your mic a bit.
So I was kind of known, you know, as kind of, you know, the really outspoken Republican guy. But in reality, you know, because I did theater, I was around a lot of people who were LGBTQ, really democratic. I always talked with them. I never hated anybody based off, you know, nothing more than our religious changes, like our political differences. Sorry. But, you know, the more you talk to those people, the more, for me, I leaned more libertarian. Because, you know, people think of me as, you know, super anti, you know, gay or LGBTQ or whatever. But like Austin knows this, my former roommate, transgender.
Yeah. Like
I know a lot of people who are transgender or gay or bi or lesbian or whatever. And I've never had a problem with that. But people, because of my really Republican leaning views, just associate me with transphobia and homophobia, even though it's just not true.
That was another thing why I got so much shit in high school, is because I had the same thing as Grant, right? I wasn't Catholic, I was just a regular Christian. But it was like, I had the exact same thing as Grant. I was just a little bit more aggressive in my approach, in terms of like, people were dicks to me in the beginning. I stopped being a pushover, and then that kind of like, the whole politics shit, like during the election year, is when everything kind of like, it was just an onslaught, right? And so I was getting labeled as all this shit, and none of it was true. I mean, one of my exes is bi. Like, my girl best friend during my junior and senior year, lesbian. Like, you know, like I never had a problem with any of this, but I was always getting labeled as this or that just because of like political party. And that's the exact problem I was talking about earlier, is like, everyone is so quick to jump on something. And like, if you can't see that like political parties are literally made just to divide you and like start arguments,
wake up.
Yeah, literally. Because the only people that like are actually like, oh, they're racist or they're homophobic, are the ones that are actually voicing out against that. Don't just assume because they view a certain way with other things unrelated to that makes them automatically this or that.
Yeah.
That is not the case at all. Like, I mean, wait a minute. Why are we forgetting? We're also forgetting that even Mason, right, is pansexual, and he's my best friend. Like,
that's true.
Yeah, like we love this guy. You know, like we
I've zoned out for like 20 minutes. What's going on? You guys kept talking about politics, and I couldn't keep up, and I
fair enough.
Out.
Fair enough.
What's your favorite pod to have sex with? Is it like 8-inch or like 12?
Probably an 8-inch stainless steel.
Well,
Got to make sure you have a rubber handle.
Oh,
what is an apple pie usually carried in?
Are you a straight olive oil or extra virgin type of fella?
Bitch, it won't be virgin oil when I'm done with it.
God, I love you two so much. But yeah, no, like that's just kind of thing. You can't. I feel like we've gotten on a way too far of a tangent with this, you know. But I feel like this is genuine advice that like everyone should know. You know? Yeah. We started out pretty hot and heavy with anti-government shit, but I feel like like towards the end this is like really good advice that we need to like
America, rah!
Yeah, and to our European
Eagle
listeners,
sound.
Also, it's the exact same fucking thing. By the way, it's the exact same, but we're just Americanized. No.
During that 20 minutes, I found this dope ass fucking Star-Lord edit though.
Nice. Wait, have you just been on TikTok?
I was for like about 5 minutes. Then I switched to Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah, I'm still an avid Facebook user. I don't deny it. It's just something nice to scroll through whenever I'm bored.
Well, hey,
Grant voted in an election.
Grant. We got to remember, he's the oldest one in the podcast.
I know.
Sorry, Mason.
I do be that boomer on Facebook here.
No, it's it's all good. Yeah, my parents sent me shit like, "Hey, you should check this Facebook thing." I'm just like, I don't even know if I still have it downloaded. Like, if I have it, it was literally just for like old games I was playing and shit. I needed it to sign on.
Facts.
Actually, no. The only reason I still have it is for Spotify, because my Spotify account is connected.
Weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely high time to just like people need to just kind of figure it out. Like,
yeah, no,
we're not enemies.
We're not. Yeah, that's also like, you know what always pissed me off?
No.
Like, well, a lot of things actually. I have anger issues, but no, but one of the things is like always these celebrities like singing about like the divide that we have. It's like, you contribute to it.
Yeah,
you are one of the reasons why we have this. What are you singing about or like speaking about? You're like one of the primary reasons that we are fucked like this.
Yeah. Well, here this is a little bit off topic, but it's the same idea. And this one's very this one's going to be a little controversial to some people. And it's the idea that like we'll talk about school shootings here and like AR-15s with like gun control. You know,
we're already in an hour, by the way.
This will be quick.
Okay.
A lot of people believe gun control is a solution, and they champion the AR-15 as, you know, an example of the horrors that firearms contribute to our nation. But they don't realize that whenever they champion anything as a killing machine, you know, or something that can, you know, achieve an end that is bad, people will see that and say, oh yeah, so if I want to do this, this is what I should use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're a school shooter, you can use go through, mow a classroom down and move on to the next one. And it's going to be a little bit more effective because you don't have to aim.
Okay, Grant, maybe we shouldn't like tell everyone this. Maybe you shouldn't be giving advice on that shit.
Beep out the weapon that I said. But yeah,
you are always the one who makes me do more editing work. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
But yeah, whenever people in the media say like, "Oh my goodness, this is a killing machine," people are gonna look at that and be like, "Oh, awesome, that's what I should use." And it's when you create a culture, when you implant an idea, you shouldn't expect people to not see that idea. You know, if you tell someone this is effective, they're gonna see it and be like, perfect. I want to be effective in this evil that I'm going to perpetrate.
Yeah. No. it's it's a crazy world out there for sure. Don't basically. I think we should start wrapping it up. I want to leave. I'll leave it with this advice. Yeah, don't shoot up schools for sure. That's great advice. But the other advice is don't be stupid. Wake up and yeah, don't trust the government. I think we've ended it off like that a few times, but like yeah, don't trust the government. That's
always remember the words of our master Oogway. Yesterday was history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. See y'all later.